Hi, good morning, guys. Today we're going to look at chapter 9 and 10. We've started with our next unit, unit 3. So we're going to look at chapters 9 and 10, and which is all about clients shaping the innovation, as well as classifying of clients. We're going to look at, in this unit, you should be able to classify your clients with regard to innovation, be able to evaluate innovation and categorize it in terms of the integrated design solutions. This is a little bit more towards chapters 11 and 12 though, that we're going to look at the IDDS, and you should be able to discuss the different project delivery systems as well. So today we're going to look at clients shaping the construction industry. So in this chapter we look at they started basically as the construction industry is different from other industries, like I've mentioned numerous times in the previous lectures. The 4 questions that it's asked in this chapter relates to the nature of innovation activities, the source of innovation, the innovation process, and then the systems of innovation. So we need to look at that. And then the construction industry is usually a highly customized engineering intensive industry, producing goods that often require several producers to work together simultaneously and with extensive collaboration with clients and end users. Okay. Policies play an important role, especially with the procurement. Okay. This is very true on both sides, large companies, as you will probably see in your task, and also with regard to the clients. They've got certain procurement policies, etc. So clients can be referred to as change agents. This change agents is basically managing change. So any innovation brings about change within the organization or the setup of the projects or so, and that has to be managed. So like for instance, an opinion on lightweight steel. As a consultant, you might bring a certain opinion to the table. Okay, moving along, we get to clients are often more concerned with innovation in relation to their own core business. This is now very important or relevant, especially for facilities managers. The facilities managers are mostly interested in how am I going to manage this building, how much maintenance I will have to do on this building. For instance, if you put on gutters on your building, those gutters will have to be cleaned every now and then, especially during the autumn season and so forth. So that's the type of things that they think about. Other things that they think about is workability, the employees, how engaged will they be in their settings and that type of thing. Then clients influence. The client's influence towards innovation is influenced by the policy or demand, the business objective, and then the personal aspiration. So policies, obviously there might be policies, yes, we want to go green, we need to innovate and get stuff done. Business objectives is we want to go green as well, is we want to market ourselves as a green consultant. You can think about Greenovate, and the company sponsoring it is Growth Point, for instance. They want to be seen as an innovative company. Then you've got personal aspirations. Obviously, this is a big drive. I think it was in chapter 2 that we spoke about personal aspirations, which is a major driving force in innovation. Okay, then client's role towards innovation can further be distinguished between a dominant client, balanced production role, and a passive client. Okay, and we'll embroider a little bit on that later on. The client's function can be divided into the other owners, users, clients, stakeholders, and their representatives. So I think most of you guys understand that. Then we get to technological frame of inclusion. Biker proposes the following configuration model of socio-technical change. No clearly dominant technical framework guides interaction, more radical information. What basically he says here, there's 3 criteria. Let me just open all of them. If there is no framework, no dominant technical framework, more radical innovation may be observed. If there's a dominant technical frame in interaction, incremental innovation, both problems and solutions should be solved. So now there's a little bit more parameters that needs to be solved. So that's basically it. Then you've got 2 or more dominant technical frame guides interaction. You've got incremental innovation. It's basically if you've got your SABS standards and you have access control and you have all health and safety, you've got fire protection, you've got all those parameters playing into your design, and basically it's detrimental to innovation because you have more rules that you have to adhere to. So but for this 3 items, I want you guys to read through the chapter for me, and you will find it on page 121 towards the bottom. So please have a look at it and be able to discuss that. Okay, then findings from the imperial research was the types of innovation that could be derived from the study are product innovation, process innovation, and organizational innovation, and then marketing innovation. Okay, fairly straightforward. Then I want you guys to have a look at this table. This is a very important table for me. Is they've listed a couple of elements here, and the production, how it influences your construction frame and how it influences your user frame. So you've got goals, for instance, and you've got building as an end. So that's the goal, is we want to create a building. That's for the production. But now for the user, is the building is a means to do their work. Key problems is the delivery on time and budget quality, supporting core business, etc. So you've got problem solving strategies, problem management for the implementation, and then the procurement of the building. Okay, and I think it's very straightforward. So you guys need to know these different elements and be able to discuss the relationship towards the production construction frame, as well as the consumption section, which includes the users. Then we get to construction clients defined. Basically, you've got clients can be classified as either users, producers, or intermediaries. So firstly, your construction client as a user includes your client and a consumption system. A good example of this might be a company like a municipality who will be the client, but they will also be ultimately the end user of that building, looking at buildings. Okay, and then we've got the other 2 options, which is your producer. So this might be a developer who will consult a consultancy, but they won't necessarily use that building. It will just be an income for them. And then you've got a intermediary, which is your developer, who will be get information from either who's not leaning towards either the production system nor the consumption system. So it will be a developer like for housing companies develop and so forth, but it will be all in-house, and they will neither be the what do you call it, the end users, nor will they be involved in the actual production. Okay, so a good example of this is a developer who gets an outside procurement or consultants production system. He only gives the money. It's like an investor. Investors is a good example of the intermediaries. Okay, so and then in conclusion, we've got this little table, which is extremely important for me. You should be able to classify your clients as users, producers, or intermediaries. How do they govern their projects? They specify the needs, or they users as a source of information, so producers. Okay, and then locomotive or co-creation. So this is your intermediaries. And then you've got just the implications of this is adaptability and flexibility to meeting user ends. And then you have your patents and other intellectual property rights going towards your producer, and then potential setting new industry standards, your intermediaries. Okay. And then the different ranges of innovation, you should know these is your product, your process, your organization, your marketing, and then your social, economical, socio-technical change is your production of buildings, consumption, and the use of buildings. Okay, and then the client's inclusion as user, producer, and intermediary. Okay, then I want you guys to have a look at this video on YouTube and try and classify the client in this building. Okay, this brings us to chapter 10, innovation, removing obstacles for innovation on a novel building product. So this chapter looks at a case study on road building in the Australian market. Innovation can have a positive impact on performance as both construction project level as well as the strategic level when adoption and implementation of novel products and solutions is done in a systematic and contextual way. Okay, so it has this nice introduction. Firstly, it looked at the comparison to a normal production line, the unique and characteristics of the construction project. It's different. It just compares again as a start that the construction industry is not a production line. So each project is a new product that is being created. Okay, so that brings about higher risk. There's a high risk associated with failure and requirement of long-term durability, and leads to conservatism towards the trial and error approaches. Okay. Innovation in road construction relies heavily on government agencies as clients. There have been much innovation in the products and equipment, but not much towards the new processes in road construction. Okay, so there's new products that can be used and equipment, but the process that was lacking. Okay, the industry still operates in silos. Australia example of funds towards innovation. Okay, so you can see there's a trend through all the countries in Canada, the UK, the USA, all the countries that's in this the case studies that has been listed here has similar challenges, and these are the same challenges that we experience in South Africa. The obstacles lie obstacles lies with the innovation and diffusion thereof. So it just goes on. It has an extensive introduction. There's not enough guidance on how to encourage innovation. Okay, so that's why we're focusing in this subject more on the concepts of innovation than actual real new technologies. Although we're using the new technologies as an example, this is the biggest challenge, is communication between firms and the diffusion of innovation. The chapter looks at the innovation in certain road construction technologies, such as high-performance concrete, asphalt, geosynthetics, fiber reinforced polymer composites, etc. The research question is as follows: how can the most significant barriers to new product diffusion in the road construction industry be overcome? The traditional definition used in national accounting comprised 4 sectors. Okay, so this is just the national accounting sector, classifies construction as engineering, construction trades, residential and non-residential buildings. Okay. They do not cover the means of construction, so they do not look at labor intensive, for instance, lightweight steel in comparison with brick and mortar construction, etc. Okay, so in summary, the survey identified 2 key problems that were ranked as the most important to be addressed by the respondents across 4 key support chain sectors surveyed, namely suppliers, consultants, contractors, government. Okay, so they basically did their research and getting information from suppliers, consultants, contractors, and the government. Okay, so this was the results: a restrictive tender assessment and this disagreement over who carries the risk. So these 2 items were the items identified as contributing the most, or key problem areas in innovation in road construction in Australia. Okay, this framework is quite a nice one to know and to have. So this is a typical question that I might ask is the participation in building and construction project systems. You need to be able to draw this for me. Sorry guys, I just quickly had to attend to that. Okay, so basically this framework just gives us a bit of an idea of how things look in the industry. So you've got your regulations, government agencies, firms, industry professional associations, etc. And then you've got the actual industry. So you've got your suppliers, your project-based firms, and your users, clients, owners, ultimate users, and so on. Then you've got your technical support infrastructure, which is now your government agencies lending support, education institutions, your R&D institutions, but I don't really know, but what I could gather, this is road and I don't know, road and development institutions. And basically you've got your associations. This is now like your ASAQS, your SAC, QSP, and so they give a lot of advice to the industry, so they can they also assist in writing policies and governing the whole industry. So you need to be able to understand this this little model. Then the findings from the study is the key drivers of increased innovation product adoption on Australian road construction identified by the focus groups were pre-project product certification. So main thing is, before the project starts, if there was a new product that was specified, it would be approved. Past innovation performance assessments would be done. In an earlier involvement of product suppliers and road assets operators, I think in our industry, for the buildings, the contractor involvement is extremely important. And then performance-based specifications. So that is now clear items of gauging and evaluating the quality of work. Okay, then what they just did, so they expanded on this, so please have a look at this. This table is extremely important for me as well. Pre-project product certification, past innovation performance certification, early involvement of product suppliers and road asset operators, and then performance-based specifications. And then it's explained here on the right. So I would want you guys to explain to me each of these points via this explanation. Then the final conclusion is project organization connected to external environments and within the project innovation knowledge bank are more likely to adopt technical innovation earlier. The lack of operation guidance internal on external innovation, basically the guidance on how to adopt innovation is a bit of a challenge. And then the product diffusion is driven by multi-dimensional factors. The project organization is the capacity of the organization to engage, to exchange innovation. It's that diffusion of information. Complexity of the project organization innovation knowledge base. Yeah, it's not transferred very quickly. Everyone has to be convinced that this is a good solution. Then individual attitudes of project leaders. Okay, very important. Okay, and then the 4 key drivers of innovation that they found was the implementation of innovation product certification process outside the project. Okay, outside of the project, so that's very important. That's not a supply chain section which sometimes says no, we're not going for that, or yes, we can, or so. Then you've got external access to contractors, past innovation performance, early involvement of extended supply chain planning and design, increased use of performance-based specifications. Okay. Then finally, the road construction industry should spend more on effective transfer of innovation product knowledge to inform this decision making. Clients' representatives could take a stronger leading role towards product promotion. And then clients also have to increase their knowledge base on new products and project as long as on projects for long-term benefits. So the main thing is it all boils down to the client, whether he's willing to take the risks or not. And that's it. Thanks, guys. Please remember, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me via email or give me a ring in the mornings here at the university. Thank you. Bye.